Hello, and thank you for joining us. This is Stephen O'Connor with CCR Event Technology Rentals. Your AV equipment plays an intricate role in the outcome of your event, yet choosing the right AV company to ensure a successful event can become an overwhelming task. In this video, we are going to discuss change of thinking when selecting an audiovisual company, and of course, how to save money while doing it. Before you start, consider the following. 1. View your AV provider as a new addition to your team. You will be spending many hours working directly with your AV company leading up to and during your event. Take an interview approach when selecting your AV company as if you would be hiring a new member of your own team. 2. Establish and share your budget with the audiovisual provider. Share your budget or budget range at the time of request. An AV company will offer more appropriate solutions and accurate quotes when the budget is known to them. And 3, be clear with expectations. Establish your expectations and specific needs beforehand and be sure to share these expectations. This will establish a clear understanding from the start. Also, review prior events' history so they know what does and does not work. The first thing we're going to talk about is finding and selecting an audiovisual company. This can be tedious and overwhelming, yet there are some solutions for you. Word of mouth and referrals are the best way to find an audiovisual company. Ask your coworkers and peers if they have an audiovisual reference. And if not, another useful way to find AV companies is to look locally in the city your event will be being held. To do that, reach out to meeting planners or professionals within your company. Associations can also help you. Large associations like MPI or PCMA are an excellent source of reference. Also, search online and look for local AV companies and not national companies. Local AV companies will know your venue and know your city very well. And finally, reach out to the sales department at the city's convention center or at that city's Visitor, Tourism, and Convention Bureau. Ask for their preferred vendor list. When you do get a good audiovisual reference, when you reach that audiovisual company, ask for their history, track record, and reference. Also, instead of getting pre-selected references from that audiovisual company, ask the AV company for recent clients they have worked with at the venue your event will be being held. Also, ask to contact these companies directly. And if you can contact these companies directly, ask them some of the following questions. What was their experience working with the audiovisual company? How did the employees conduct themselves? Did they dress appropriately and did they show up on time? Also, did the company provide the services they promised, and did the AV company stay within their budget? And one other good question to ask is, would they use this company again? Why and why not? And always, whenever you're getting a referral for an AV company, ask the audiovisual company if they provide a referral discount. Also, something else we're going to talk about is meeting the audiovisual company in person. A lot of companies don't do this, but I feel there's high value in taking the time to meet them. So with that, go beyond the PR material, the phone calls, and emails. Your relationship will have a better start by talking directly with the AV company, and many things about the company can be determined by a simple phone call. Next, take the time to meet directly with the audiovisual companies. Meeting an audiovisual company in person will give you great insight into their personality, their work ethic, and also overall operations. And if possible, see if the audiovisual company will fly out to meet you and your team directly. And if not, see if you can meet with them directly as well. When you can't meet in person, consider introductions via web conference or simple applications like Skype. Your audiovisual company will know how to make these arrangements for you. And if possible, have the audiovisual company send you equipment like an iPad to make Skyping easier for you. After meeting with an audiovisual company in person, evaluate your meeting and then consider the following after you have that meeting with them. How was their communications with you? Did they talk over your head or did they speak in simple terms? Did they answer your questions or leave you guessing? Do they have a clear understanding of your company and your company's event? And how was their demeanor and attitude? Is this a demeanor and attitude you can work with? In what ways have they gone or will they go out of your way to take care of you? Another way to change your way of thinking is to ask questions for clear understanding and further insight. Simple questions will give you more insight into an audiovisual company and help you with the decision-making process. I'll give you a few examples. What will the audiovisual company do for you? For example, will they help you measure a room or help you with a room layout? Do they provide all labor, or are they expecting you to set up some of the equipment yourself? In general, what are all the services they will provide you beyond equipment and labor? Another question is ask about the quality of equipment and their backup policy. When you do talk to them about that, ask them about their updated equipment and when it's updated and possibly when the equipment was purchased. Also, what is their maintenance schedule on the equipment that's going to be used for your event? To save money, watch for overselling equipment by audiovisual companies. For example, many AV companies oversell you on LCD projectors, giving a far too powerful projector and a far more expensive projector when a less expensive model would have done just fine. Ask the audiovisual company if the equipment is local, or do you need to pay higher prices to get the equipment sent in for you? And remember, backup equipment should always be offered to you and should always be complimentary. Another question is how do they prevent problems from occurring or handle problems and challenges once faced? Ask for examples. And of those examples, ask for references and speak with the references about the problems they went through and how the audiovisual took care of them. Another question to ask is ask them to describe the last event held at the venue that your event is going to be held. Ask about their successes and failures at that venue. Is there anything you should be aware of or prepared for at that venue? Also, ask the audiovisual company to describe their last event at your venue and the successes and failures of that event. Is there anything you should know or be aware of before you attend your meeting at that event? Also, to save money, ask about cost-saving opportunities such as cheaper load-in times at the venue. Maybe at the venue you can use house sound instead of paying for audiovisual sound systems, and maybe look at cheaper rates during regular business hours and cheaper equipment in smaller rooms. Another question to ask is, where required, what is the audiovisual company when it comes to union experience? When working with unions, your audiovisual company will need to work side by side with the union for setup, operations, and teardown. Guidelines and requirements can vary to city. You'll want to know the relationship the audiovisual company has with the union in general, as well as the relationship they've had at your venue. You'll want to make sure the audiovisual company is supplying you all union charges, and they supply that to you on the quote beforehand. There should be no hidden union fee costs or charges at the end of your event. Finally, you'll want to ensure the audiovisual company is following all guidelines established by the union and that they have proper labor to complete the job and oversee the event effectively. In general, getting a clear understanding of the union requirements is essential, and your audiovisual provider should know everything you need to know about that union. Some good money-saving tips when working with union. Note that union is cheaper during regular business hours. Also, check with your venue and look at your contract to see the date and time you can set and strike your equipment. That can save you thousands of dollars right there. Also, many tasks can be performed by your audiovisual company and not the union, which will save you money. And finally, lower grade of union workers can perform the same tasks as expensive grades. So make sure your audiovisual company is requesting the correct grade of union labor. Taking the time to ask these simple questions can save you a tremendous amount of money and a lot of time. All you need to do is ask. In general, there's a few things to remember. 1, go beyond the lowest bid. There are pros and cons of letting the lowest bid be a determining factor. When receiving the lowest bid, ask the vendor how their rates can be so low. Ask about the quality of the equipment and services they provide, and also, will they be available at all times and easy to reach? And when you do receive the lowest bid, check to make sure that the quality of service will meet your expectations. Also, are there any hidden costs that the audiovisual company has not provided you on your quote? Price is an important aspect, yet not the only factor. You don't want to save money just to receive poor service and low quality work. And of course, a few money-saving tips. Ensure the bid is complete and all equipment is listed. Ensure all labor is included and meet your schedule. Also, ensure all union labor is talked about. And finally, make sure the quality equipment is shown on your quote. When dealing with hotels and outside audiovisual company, there's definitely a few factors you want to consider. Your contract may state that you must use an in-house audiovisual company. Confirm this requirement with your hotel when meeting with them. Know that many hotels are flexible with this requirement. I would suggest having it taken out of your contract to allow full flexibility when you're choosing an audiovisual company. Ask for a copy of the hotel's requirements and regulations and make sure you share that information with your audiovisual company. Finally, some hotels require a rider to cover damage to structure and personal injury. Make sure you understand these expectations and ensure that your audiovisual company is covered as well. You might want to go a little further and ask your audiovisual company for a copy of their rider. And there's always opportunities to save money. For example, in-house audiovisual companies are 3 times more expensive than an outside audiovisual company. Remember, outside AV companies can save you thousands of dollars and provide you just as good a service, if not better, than the hotel in-house audiovisual company. In-house AV companies need to pay a portion of their profits to the hotel per contract, and that can be anywhere from 60% or higher, which makes them so expensive. Another thing to look for is outside AV charges that the hotel and in-house audiovisual company pass on to you as the client. There's really no reason for these charges, as unfortunately they're just trying to nickel and dime you. And finally, watch for fear factors or scare tactics by the in-house audiovisual about the fears of using an outside audiovisual company. These simply aren't true. Many, if all, of the AV companies in that city have been working in that venue for many years, so they can provide great service and great prices for you. It's not always the best solution to choose the in-house AV company. Using these simple guidelines will help ensure that all the audiovisual portion of your event is run professionally and by trusted people. You can then focus on the other areas of your event knowing your audiovisual is well covered. At CCR, we've been in business for over 22 years, and our simple tagline is simple: relax, we got this. We provide service, experience, knowledge, and equipment, and of course, we always offer fair and discounted rates. Call us. We're glad to help you in any way. Our number is 1-800-522-7000, and relax, we got this. Thank you very much for joining us.